Theater. All live performance in front of an audience, from the circus to opera to plays, can be called theater. Traditionally, theater is an art form in which a play script is performed by actors and actresses in a room called a theater. People have enjoyed going to the theater for hundreds of years. Semicircular theater. This is a model of a Roman theater dating back to AD 100. Street theater. Some amateur actors perform theater in the street. Amazing facts. Tiny theater. The smallest professional theater is the Piccolo in Hamburg, Germany. It can seat no more than 30 people. Long run. The longest running play is The Mousetrap, which has been running in London, England, since 1952. Oldest amphitheatre. The earliest known stone amphitheatre was built in Rome in about 55 BC. It held approximately 40,000 people. Short and sweet. The shortest recorded play, Breath, by Samuel Beckett, consists of 35 seconds of human cries and breaths. Death by Macube. Until the invention of grease paint in the 1860s, stage macube contained lead. Many actors died from lead poisoning. Unlucky title. The title of Shakespeare's tragedy, Macbeth, is considered unlucky in the theatre. Instead, the play is called the Scottish play. Fact file. 10 useful theatre terms. Block, to mark, where the actors will move on stage. Corpse, to burst into laughter on stage without meaning to dry, to forget your lines. Fringe theatre, alternative theatre, including unconventional plays, venues, or theatrical styles. The gods, seats at the top rear of the auditorium. Ham, a bad actor, usually one who overacts. House, the audience. Limelight, powerful light, like that once produced by Burning Lime. Prompt, to whisper lines to an actor who has forgotten them. Walk on, a non-speaking acting part. Theatre history. The word theatre comes from a Greek word meaning a place for seeing. In ancient Greece, plays were performed as part of religious festivals. In the 1100s, plays were acted out at Christian church festivals. Later, theatre moved away from the church. Acting became a profession. Open-air theatre. Greek theatre took place in the open air in huge amphitheatres. Shakespearean tragedy. The person kneeling is the fool in Shakespeare's play King Lear. Key dates. c. 3000 BC. Religious ceremonies all over the world included music, dance, and element of drama. c. 1000 BC. Chinese dance dramas developed and became more formal in style. 534 BC. Thespis, the first actor to step outside the chorus of singers and dancers, arrived in Athens, Greece. c. 500 BC. Tragedy developed in Greece. c. Add 1 to 100. Pantomimus, a form of theatre in which actors used gesture and movement to act out tragic stories. Was popular in Rome. c. 1200. Traveling storytellers in the Middle East used mime to cross language barriers. c. 1300. Indian folk theatre developed. In Japan, no theatre became the dominant form. 1564. English dramatist William Shakespeare was born. c. 1600. Kathakali, story plays, developed in India, in which actors used body language and mime to tell popular Hindu epic stories. 1603. Akuni, a young Japanese woman, created a new dance called kabuki. c. 1800. Peking opera began in China. Performances were a mixture of mime, song, dance, speech, and acrobatics. 1894. The Olympia was the first theater to open on Broadway, in New York, USA. 1896 Frenchman Alfred Jarry staged Du Bourgeois, a play which later influenced a movement called Theatre of the Absurd. 1905 The Russian Revolution created a need for propaganda theatre, in which actors acted out political events. 1935 French dramatist Antonin Artaud staged Les Sensi, the first example of theatre of cruelty, a style of theatre that was meant to horrify the audience. 1955 American Tennessee Williams staged Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. 1956 English dramatist John Osborne staged Look Back in Anger, a realistic portrayal of everyday life known as kitchen sink drama. 1970 The women's liberation movement produced many women's theatre groups. 1986 Nigerian dramatist Wole Soyinka was the first black African to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. 1990s musicals are the most popular form of theatre in the Western world. Fact file. Theatre buildings. Since the ancient Greeks built the first theatres in the 400s BC, the style of theatrical buildings has altered constantly to suit the demands of the plays performed in them. In many modern theatres, the shape and size of the stage can be changed for each production. Natural setting. Ancient Greek theatres had seats built into the sides of a natural hillside bowl. The center was used for singing and dancing and the small stage for acting. Wood or stone. Roman theatres were built of wood or stone in a semicircular shape. A permanent roof sheltered the actors on stage. One-sided audience. Renaissance theatres were loosely based on those of ancient Rome, with the audience on one side only. Comings and goings. Elizabethan English theatres had several entrances and exits, used for acting out complex plots. Modern theatre. Modern stages take many forms. One is theatre in the round, where the audience surrounds the stage. Greek and Roman theatre. The ancient Greeks wrote and performed tragedies and comedies. Greek tragedies were originally performed at religious festivals. Most of them were based on myths. All the actors were male and wore masks. A chorus commented on the action of the play. Greek comedies were normally about everyday life. In ancient Rome, comedy was much more popular than tragedy. The Romans took most of their ideas about drama from the Greeks. Masked musicians. In most Roman comedies, actors wore comic masks and acted on a stage that looked like a street. Tragedy. Find out more. Tragedy. The word tragedy comes from ancient Greece, though its exact meaning is not certain. The term describes a play that is serious and sad, with a disastrous or fatal ending. It is almost always dignified in its treatment of its subject. Comedy. The term comedy originally came from the word for a singer in the comic chorus in a Greek play, and gave the inspiration for a light and amusing play with a happy ending. It is used to describe plays that are humorous and light-hearted, with characters and incidents which make the audience laugh. Renaissance theatre. The first theatres were often built to entertain royal or aristocratic patrons, who would sometimes take part in the performances. Later, theatres were built for ordinary people, who paid to go and watch the performances. In England, bands of actors toured the country and set up wooden stages in inn yards. The audience would watch the performance from the balconies in the yard. The globe. This model of the globe theatre left parenthesis 1599 has been cut in half to let you see inside. Most of audience stood around stage. Musician's balcony. Stage had no scenery. Stage door. Rich people sat in gallery. Find out more. Early theatres. In Shakespeare's time, drama was very popular at the royal court, and in universities, where it was performed in dining halls and other large rooms. It also became a public entertainment with the opening of proper theatres. However, English Renaissance theatres such as the Globe Theatre left parenthesis 1599 were much more primitive than sophisticated Italian theatres such as the Teatro Olimpico at Vicenza left parenthesis 1580. Theatre, 1600s and 1700s. The 1600s were a great age for European theatre. In England, the first actresses appeared in the 1660s, so men stopped playing women's roles. By the early 1700s the style of acting had become very exaggerated. A British actor, David Garrick, decided to return to a more realistic style of acting. At this time, audiences tended to go to the theatre to see great performers, rather than to watch a specific play. A born actor, Garrick's natural style of acting made him the most popular actor of his time. Theatre, 1800s to today. As of the 1800s, the style of acting became more realistic. Playwrights such as Norwegian Henrik Ibsen wrote plays about ordinary people in real-life situations. In the late 1800s, theatre directors appeared before a leading actor would have directed the play. During the 20th century, playwrights experimented with new ideas. Today we can enjoy live theatre or watch drama on television at home. How absurd! Samuel Beckett's play Waiting for Godot is about humans in absurd situations. Find out more. Popular comedies. Throughout the 1800s and 1900s, comedy continued to flourish in many European countries. Many comedies in this period made fun of the way people behaved in their daily lives. Generally, such plays only involved the middle section of society, rarely the very poor or the very wealthy and powerful. Theatre production. At the start of a theatre production, a director or producer is chosen to be in charge of the play. He or she studies and interprets the text of the play, and auditions and casts actors and actresses to perform the different characters. He or she also supervises rehearsals and tells the actors what to do. The director must also find a designer to create the scenery, and organize the lighting and sound. Modern theatre. A proscenium arch separates the actor's pretend world from that of the audience. Scenery suspended by ropes above the stage. Proscenium arch frames acting area. Upstage. Downstage. Orchestra pit in front of stage. Find out more. Modern theatres. Traditionally the stage area of the theatre was divided from the auditorium by a frame known as the proscenium, but in many modern theatres the stage projects into the auditorium. When the stage is situated almost in the center of the auditorium, this is known as theatre in the round. Theatre lighting. Lighting is not a modern invention. In London in the 1700s, the successful reforms of the actor-manager David Garrick owed a great deal to new lighting systems that he imported from France. Theatre scenery. Scenery is often referred to as the stage set. The set helps the audience to understand the play, and creates an appropriate mood. The set is made using standing or hanging units called flats. Flats are wooden frames with canvas stretched over them. Modern technology makes swift scene changes possible by hoisting the set up above the stage, or by turning it around on a revolving platform. Assembling the set. It is often necessary to climb high ladders to assemble all parts of the stage set. Find out more. Robust scenery. For certain kinds of play, such as domestic drama, where the whole action might take place in the same room, very substantial sets are built, with doors and windows as solid as those used in a real house. Theater costumes. Costumes, wigs, and masks can be rented, but the more important theaters and companies make their own. A special wardrobe staff looks after them, repairs them when they get torn, and makes sure that the correct costumes are ready for each performance. A large company performing different operas or plays will have several hundreds of costumes in its wardrobe. Straight out of history. Historical costumes require careful research to make sure they are recreated to look just as they would have long ago. Find out more. Theater masks. The use of masks in theaters goes back to ancient Greece, and many countries around the world still use them. Such masks help the audience to recognize the characters being portrayed by the players, and the emotions they are experiencing. Backstage at the theater. Behind the scenery there is normally a vast amount of technical equipment for lighting and sound, and for moving scenery and curtains. There is usually a corner for the prompter, who follows the text and helps the actors, if they forget their words. Furniture and props are also stored there, before and after they are needed on stage. Further away are the actors' and actresses' dressing rooms. Stage fright. This photograph shows the performer's view from the stage into the audience. Find out more. Special effects. At the original Paris Opera building, known as the Palais Garnier after the architect who designed it, the back wall of the stage can be opened up to give direct access to the mirrored dance studio behind it, creating a hugely deep vista for special effect. World performance. Much ethnic drama is part of religious worship, and is not considered to be for performance or entertainment. Western theater has its origins in ancient Greece, while Asian theater developed along different lines. Today world theater festivals bring plays and theater companies together from all over the world. All strung-up puppets were used in ancient Egypt more than 2,500 years ago to tell stories. This puppet is based on a French design. Traditional Indian drama. These are actors in an Indian play based on a great Hindu epic known as the Ramayana story. Find out more. Puppets and puppetry. Puppets are not a new invention. They were used in ancient Egypt more than 2,500 years ago to tell stories. For hundreds of years, Indian puppets have acted out very long tales about the incredible lives of kings and queens. In Europe, during the Middle Ages, puppets were used to help people understand Bible stories. In the shadows. Shadow puppets are one of the most versatile kinds of puppet. They are controlled by sticks joined to their arms and legs. In Indonesia, shadow puppetry is called wayang kulit. A puppet show may last a whole week, and use as many as 200 puppets. On a string. String puppets in some parts of the world perform complete operas or tragedies. Puppeteers, people who control the puppets, move the limbs of the puppets from above using strings. Hand in glove. Finger puppets are easy to make, but they have limited movement. Glove puppets fit over the whole hand, and each finger moves a different part of the puppet. Electronic puppets. The term animatronics is used to describe puppetry that is partly controlled by electronics. Operators control the facial movements of animatronic puppets from a distance by sending electronic signals through a cable. Japanese theater. Theater in Japan has three forms. The no plays developed from religious dances performed in front of shrines. They are about history and legends, and are accompanied by music and dance. Puppet theater, featuring realistic puppets, was popular in the 1600s and 1700s. Kabuki is the most popular type of theater in Japan today. It is melodramatic, with colorful costumes and makeup, and fantastic scenery. The acting style is exaggerated. Larger than life, this actor's dramatic pose, flamboyant costume, and bold makeup are very typical of Kabuki theater. Find out more. Types of Japanese theater. Traditional Kabuki and No theaters continue to exist in modern Japan, along with the Bunraku puppet theater, but there is also a new form of modern theater known as Shinjiki, which is very distinct from the others because of the content of its plays and the training of its players. Mime theater. Mime is a very expressive form of acting without speech. Mime artists use facial expressions and body movements to communicate their feelings or to tell a story. Ballet dancers often use mime in their performances, and mime is also used in Japanese theater. Mime was important in silent films before the arrival of the talkies, with characters such as Charlie Chaplin. One of the most famous mime artists was French actor Marcel Marceau. Famous mime artist Marcel Marceau invented a clown-like, white-faced character called Bip who communicated through mime. Find out more. Acting without words. The French actor Marcel Marceau, born in 1923, is the most remarkable representative of mime today. He prefers to call his art mimedrama, the art of silence, by which he speaks to the emotions and the mind directly, but without using words.